Hey, what's going on, guys? Shane here with the Anomaly himself, Vince Cachero.
What's up, guys?
Today, Vince is going to be talking about striking from your back. In MMA, when people go to the ground, they often go into grappling mode, especially when they're on their back. But you can still throw strikes from there, elbows and punches. So Vince is going to cover some strategies used by fighters like Michelle Waterson, Tony Ferguson, AJ McKee. I know just won his fight from his back, throwing elbows, and then they stopped the fight because of cuts. So let's look at some ways that you can be dangerous even when on your back.
So today we're going to start with our striking from specifically the guard. In general, you don't really want to be striking from other spots. So let's say Shane's passing a side control. There's really nothing I can throw on him from here. He's going to be pressuring, he's going to be tight. And as soon as I start making space to try to punch, he's going to pass or get on top. Yeah, exactly. And it's over from there. So we don't want that to happen. But we're going to be talking about these strikes here from the guard. All right. So in MMA, again, we don't really want to sit here too often. Because the judges are going to score it for Shane. Unless I have nasty jiu-jitsu from my back, or I'm like a Tony Ferguson type of person where I can do a lot of damage, I don't really want to be here. So in general, for someone like me, I'm using my strikes to create a movement for Shane to back off a little bit, at which point I'm going to try to stand up. But first, we got to start defending these strikes first, right? We get down here. Shane's going to be throwing punches. My guard's closed here. One way I like to defend these punches is shooting my arm up and kind of going to the same direction where the punch is going. So notice I'm kind of blocking that punch, but I'm also in this position where I can get this overhook with my arm. If you're being active with this hand too, I can be blocking the bicep here so he can't punch, or I can immediately switch up and get that head control on Shane. So I've got my overhook on this side, I've got this control on top of Shane's head, and I can move my guard a little bit higher, but the good thing now is he can't hit me with that arm, and I really just need to defend here. So if you're slick off your back, watch some of Aaron's videos, you can start throwing up triangles, things like that. But the main thing is I've avoided a lot of this damage, not by staying down here and still eating these shots, but I'm kind of turning with them, okay? So going with the shots and getting to this overhook. Now I'm in a spot where I can start throwing some strikes, right? So if I want to come up with elbows here, if I want to push away, an elbow on this side, elbow on this side. Also from the guard here, guys, I can extend my guard and come straight down with that elbow here. One thing I like to do as well is kind of frame on my opponent's head, and that gives me a nice base. My coach Ian Harris at Fight Science always talks about this, framing and then replacing that frame with your own elbow, whether it's this side, that side. But we can always be cutting here. Now you can strike with your hands too, but there's really not that much space here to create heavy power. So I'd rather like hit these elbows in there, try to cut my opponent, or even do some nasty damage if I can get these going down as well.
Right.
And again, so we're looking for landing these elbows here so that I create that space. So Shane's already turning his head, even though he knows I'm not hitting him here. And that's what's going to happen in a fight. You land a few of these, they're going to start backing up. As soon as they back up, my feet are on the hips, or maybe my knee gets inside for a knee shield. Either way, I'm getting to a spot now where I can start to scramble and stand up, and that's what I want to do. In an MMA fight, again, we don't want to be sitting on there on our backs. The judge is going to score it for the other guy almost every single time. So be really active with these strikes. That's just a few applications of how to do them. But most oftentimes it's like, okay, I saw Tony Ferguson do that. I'm just going to try my fight.
Yeah.
But we want to be able to practice them. So here's a couple of ways to practice them using a kicking shield and some Thai pads. Now let's check out a drill we can work with a partner and a kicking shield. So I'm going to do the same thing as I just did. I'm going to be on the bottom. Shane's going to be on top in my guard. And he's going to have this kicking shield. Make sure that when we're hitting this from the bottom, we're not missing and going over the top and cutting Shane open. We don't want that to happen to your partners here. And then for Shane as well, as the person on top, he's going to be using the shield to put pressure into me. So it'd almost be the same thing as if someone's trying to, cover the biceps, get low, punch. So he can kind of be moving up and down with the kicking shield, putting pressure here, pulling it back. And then once you got kind of some of the strikes down, one thing I like to do is work to get up. As I mentioned before, I'm using the strikes off my back to either set up a submission or I'm using it to get up. So I'm going to be striking from the bottom. Shane's going to be putting some pressure. And then as soon as I find that time to kind of get my feet on Shane's hips, I'm going to start to kick off, work my way up, use the wall if it's right there behind us. But let's check it out just so you guys can see what it looks like here with the kicking shield. So let's say Shane's got me down. He's in my guard. I'm going to create those frames like I talked about before. We can Pull up, down, land some of the elbows. Find some time to get my feet on the hips here. And then I'm going to start to work to kick up. I can kick off on this leg. I can turn this direction if Shane is putting heavy pressure. And I can keep shrimping out. And I'm going to find my time to get up. So we'll go through live a few times. Cool, so that's what that drill looks like with the kicking shield here, guys. Again, as the person on top with the shield, you want to be sometimes putting pressure in, sometimes pulling back. You can even mimic like trying to hit the guy with it, just so they're used to the strikes coming in. So we can do the exact same thing here with the tie pads. Now the person on top with the tie pads on, they can be a little more active this time trying to strike. So make it a little bit more realistic. Throw those hands down like you're striking. Let the other person get a little control. Again, it's a little bit of a give and take, right, as a pad holder. So you're going to get in there. If the person overhooks, you're going to go down, block your head. Now, as a person on the bottom, you got to be really careful because their head is exposed. So I'd recommend putting on some headgear as well for the person with the tie pads on. And the bottom, be really precise with your shots. This is more of a realistic look because he has two arms free and he can hit you with the pads. He can grab on. But the main thing is make sure that the person on the bottom gets that work. Gets used to throwing those strikes, get used to controlling the head, getting the feet on the hips, whatever it is. Let's check it out. Notice how Shane got up there too. If you guys want to kind of chain this into something else, we could chain it right back into striking, right back into groundwork. But I think you guys get the idea. Work on using the pads, work on using your whole body to create some power with the elbows, or work on framing, landing the short elbows there. These are nasty from the bottom, especially in a real fight. No elbow pads. People are going to get cut.
All right, guys, there you have it. So grab a partner, grab some pads, and get to work. It's kind of a mindset thing, too, when you go to your back, knowing that you have these weapons in your arsenal and that you have the freedom and now the knowledge to know how to do it. Use your legs, use control, do some damage, and then if you want to get back to your feet, now you know how to do so. Until next time, be sure to follow Vince. Links in the description below for his Instagram. Follow this man. He's got some great content on there. But until then, subscribe to Fight Tips to get those fight tips before your opponent does. I'm Shane.
Vince the Anomaly.
For the Underdogs.